Sorry. All right, good evening. We are gonna get started, 6 o'clock. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I know, I still look over there.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Agenda adjustments. We have payroll warrant number 23 and AP warrant number 24. Any other adjustments? No.
Don't think so.
No. Okay. Approval of the minutes or regular meeting on September 11th.
I make a motion to approve as
Can we
written.
make one correction
Oh,
on the first one about the stump removal? It was just a little tiny wording thing. He rolled the whole pile, not just a third of it. It just took it down to about a third of the original size.
okay.
What remained is about a third.
Correct.
So what was that? What did you say?
He rolled the whole pile and the remaining that was left was about a third of what the original size had been.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm okay.
There's only one other minor detail and it doesn't really matter much, but under public comment
Yeah.
with the Kent variety guy that came in, you
Yeah.
asked if there was gonna be a pumpkin scout. I didn't.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see that part, so.
Not that it really matters, but. That's it.
Yes, I do that, so.
Sarah, that was you who asked that?
Yes,
Okay. I will correct those.
I make a motion to approve as with corrections.
Second,
All those in favor? And I abstain, that was me. All right, starting with some old business, aquifer discussion update. So I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I don't know exactly what you guys talked about in terms of the aquifer.
there was an email, I guess that came from
dang it.
Diane that said the wellheads were not permissible.
Did
Was that
we
correct?
interpret that correctly?
I don't know, you asked me for what the, federal government said you could do with the biolands.
Mhm.
Correct,
I
because
just copied and pasted that.
the water district wants to put test wells in near Ranger Mill Road that
I don't
area.
think that's a problem,
Yeah, I don't think it's just the wellheads. I mean, it's just a
right?
well.
I mean,
It's
other towns have built campgrounds on their stuff, and
Mhm.
put in all kinds of water
Okay.
systems and everything else, so I don't think it's.
The only thing I found that, and it may just be wording, allowable uses generally do not include.
Right,
And under that section is above or below ground pumping.
right.
That's what stumped me out
Well,
too.
he's not gonna pump down there. It's just gonna be a pipe underground.
There's gonna be a well pump though. There's gonna be well pumps to pull it about.
It would have to be.
I would think if
Yeah,
you
they have
find
to be.
Right, but
it
it's
for it
in-
to be acceptable, they could think about where to put the actual. bed.
I don't see it as being an issue.
I don't either, just.
I don't either. I was just
Mhm.
curious what other people thought of the
I mean,
information.
He was told he can't put a building out there.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, I
Right.
figured did that.
I was just confused with that wording. And, just to make sure that we weren't doing something we weren't
We
supposed
already
to do.
made the motion to approve it. I think we
Yeah.
did it, well,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I agree.
All right.
Sounds good. We'll check that one out and move forward. Old school update. So Christie had sent us some stuff, or questions about it, but then also I reached out to the town attorney because there were some questions on doing the deed research and through the property folder in terms of who actually owns it. And the owner history of it, transfer history. So, I gave you guys all a copy of the memo that Jack sent. But basically, he copied us on a memo that he had written to the old office staff back in 2021. That clearly states at the bottom of it, my conclusion based on the evidence is the town of Canton is the current owner of the property. Any transfer to a nonprofit group was void because the town didn't own the property at the time of transfer. So the town of Canton does own the old school, so that tells us that we can move ahead with.
We need to know the funding.
Yep, it gives us a direction on what we can and can't do in terms of possible funding opportunities.
Right.
So that's. It doesn't help us in terms of the brownfield funding, but it at least helps us that we can figure out how we are gonna move forward.
We know it's ours to do something with.
Exactly.
Want to turn it over to you?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think, looking at the options that we were given during that phone call is something that we really need to consider. I'm concerned about the school when the snow starts falling. After the wet summer that we've had, after all the rain that we've had, I'm concerned. I would rather us see what we can do sooner than later. That's just my opinion. And I know that we're gonna need a lot more input from everybody in the town. To move forward with that, but I think waiting until after winter is. Yeah,
We have a choice. I mean, we can do the research, obviously, but
Right.
we're not gonna.
Until we get a funding method, I think,
Right.
I don't think we have a decision as to whether we keep it or not. I think based on the condition of it, it needs to come down.
mhm,
It's just a matter of how we get funds to do that.
how we get the funding, right? Or how we qualify for funding to get it.
Just to give you guys some backstory, because it is a town-owned building, we don't qualify for a brownfield grant. If it was a nonprofit that owned it or a private entity, they could qualify. But we don't, so now we have to get creative.
Now, 1 second, Sandra, I can't get into our meeting.
I didn't even see.
I have a question. Why can't you guys donate it to a nonprofit? And then.
That was something that was, we had a Zoom call with AvCog, and that was something that was suggested. They pretty much didn't give us a lot of hope.
Right, so one of the only ways that we could qualify really for the brownfield grant funding stuff is if we do hand the property over to a nonprofit.
Historical society, maybe take it up?
Like any nonprofit, or we could, create, can school plans organization or something, I mean, anything. But it'd be the act of giving it to the nonprofit organization.
Yeah,
I know that there's been a lot of history with that and how we obtained the school to begin with. So, it would definitely need to go out to a town vote what we want to do and how we want to do that.
and I think one of the big reasons why we were concerned about the possibility of trying to transfer it to a nonprofit again was the first time it went south pretty bad, very quickly. And then the other thing is looking at going forward. If the town doesn't own the property, but they're, whether it be a park or a sports area, whatever ends up going there, it'll be a little more difficult in terms of insurance and making sure things are covered under the town umbrella if the town doesn't own the property.
Can you do the work and then transfer it back?
I believe, didn't they say there's something about a timeline?
Were you on that?
I wasn't on the call. but-
No, I don't recall hearing that there was a
I thought-
timeline,
I thought he had said that there's.
huh?
Yeah,
If there is.
Yeah.
I thought the guy, I can't remember his name now, but I thought the guy had said something about a time frame
Yeah,
of how long it had to be in the nonprofits.
I don't recall that part of the conversation, but I'm sure there is red tape around that.
Yeah.
They threw a lot at us.
I'm sure, you're right, yeah, my head was spinning by the end of that, I was like, okay. I walked away understanding we couldn't qualify for the brownfield grant unless we made this a nonprofit.
But there are some other possible options in terms of funding, so,
Mhm.
but I think. Excuse me, I think Christie's right that we need to move forward with trying to see,
We gotta
have
figure
somebody
it
at least come look at it and see what it would cost to have it.
Yeah.
Have all the abatement and stuff done and have it taken care of. That'll at least give us a ballpark figure to continue
Right.
trying to find funding and,
Mhm.
There's asbestos and lead is the big concern, so we can't just hire Joe Blow to come in and demolish.
And the roof is caving in, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, and I'll try to go up in the next. It'll be a couple weeks, but I'll try to put my drone up and see if I can see if it is collapsed now or not. Cause I know when we went up over it for the bicentennial parade day that we were taking with the drone, you could see it didn't look good, but it was still somewhat intact.
the back.
Well, I
left
can
corner.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find it out, one, two.
Oh, okay,
That was definitely before all the
Take a
rain we
look at
had.
it.
exactly, yep. Yep.
May not want to.
Well,
And she had that thing, so I don't know what she's trying to do instead. You read the message, so
Okay.
I'll keep moving and. go from
And I'll
there,
keep
yes.
watching. I'll keep watching.
All right, so we'll keep everybody updated on where we're at with that as we get more information. Um.
Trying to get the reporter in.
All right, we'll move on to the Edmonds Road and the Hayford Court follow-ups. On those two complaints.
it's got go up there, you know,
I have no idea. I know Michelle was supposed to get in touch with them. So that in.
Edmonds Road.
Yep.
And Hayford Court.
Yep.
So I did. Between the last meeting and the meeting before. I was able to get in touch with. Donna, I left a message for Scott. I did speak to Donna. Donna was going to connect with Scott and they were gonna go check out both properties. I haven't heard any updates. Was there any updates that came into the office yet?
No.
So I will reach out again. To them. But I haven't gotten any updates. It was before the 11th that I had, it was right after the
You'd said, yeah, you said.
2 meetings ago.
All right, Diane, do you have a comprehensive plan update for us?
We're thinking that they will have a good draft to you by the end of October.
Okay,
I've gone to AI, ChatGPT, to write the chapter on agriculture. None of the farmers have contributed any information. I'm taking,
I wasn't asked.
you guys all were asked.
I must have missed that one.
If you have any data to add, that'd be great, but we'll see what comes out of
I
that.
know it. Christie and I had asked at one point to see if you could get one from another town, at least to give us a ballpark of an idea of what needed to be in it, but. Cause I think we can come up with something if we knew what we needed, but without knowing what needs to go in it, it's hard to. Write something up.
It will be a starter.
Yeah, if we can get a starter, I'm sure between all of us, we can come up with something, but. Because I know we've done, at least I've done some. Background research in terms of some acreage and stuff like that, but
Okay.
it's just something we'll have to. Get an idea on how to compile it all.
So when you give that, you will put a timeline with it, editing, legal review.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. So the plan now would be regular town meeting in June.
Guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I would think so. Take a while to look at it.
Yeah, so I mean, by the time legal review and all that kind of stuff. All right, ACO absence protocol.
I spoke with Carrie Costongway from Livermore Falls, and she has given me the name and number of their ACO, but I have not made contact with him yet. She didn't sound like it would be a problem, but she wasn't gonna speak for him either, so.
well, based on Rich's conversation last time, I think that's the way we need to try to,
Yeah.
if he works well with her and
Mhm.
whoever their ACO is already, if we can get that mutual
Yeah.
aid agreement
Mhm.
Yep,
and get the liability
Yeah.
thing figured out, piece
Mhm.
figured out.
Cause all they do when he goes on vacations, they have their police force handle. I said, that doesn't work for us.
Right.
So
yeah,
we don't have.
And I scanned MMA real quick. I couldn't find too much about the liability insurance piece of it, of a mutual aid agreement. But Richard didn't seem to think that it was too much of a difference,
yeah.
so.
I think that's definitely the way we need to try to
Yeah,
progress,
I-
because
I
Yeah.
agree.
I don't think
none of
it's,
us have the tools or.
Exactly.
Skill, time, and everything to go with it.
Right.
Yes, agree.
Yep.
yeah, I was doing some fancy jumping when I got the first phone call, I was like, "You're kidding me."
That was me when I got the second one, is,
Yeah, then you bought it off onto me, thank you. So,
how does it work? All right, so we'll continue working on getting
yeah, I just gotta.
a backup ACO. Plan? All right, personnel policy PTO time. Did you guys step into that last week without
No,
me or no?
We tabled it because you put it on there and we had no idea.
All right, so, kind of, we talked about it a couple times in the past and we never really followed through with it. Our personnel policy doesn't have anything in it in terms of, sick time. So basically, if any of our employees are sick, they're using their, whatever their earned time is.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's
vacation
basically
time.
paid leave or vacation time. There's no sick time in their agreement, or in the policy. I think that's something that we should look at adding. I know. We've done some looking in the past and I found various ranges depending on the town or the employer that we've looked at. So I think there's a lot of different routes we
Right.
can go with it.
I talked with both Andy and David Lee, and they both gave me what they had in their previous lives, but
Mhm.
that's written down at home, and I don't remember.
So what were you thinking for sick time?
I wasn't. I didn't have a number in mind. It was just something that I thought we should talk about and see. I think employees should have something for
Right.
sick time. I don't know
If he
if,
was pulling a number out of the hat.
so I can tell you,
Usually it's 5 days, isn't it?
I say just from what I deal with at the school, it's. They get more, but it's, 13 sick, 5 personal. Is the way the paid leave is broke down at the school. And that's for pretty much most everybody from ed techs all the way up through. But I've seen a couple I've looked at have been 3 days, a couple have been 5, a couple have been 7.
3 to 5 seems to be the.
No, I-
I've found.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, anything in there. I think anything is obviously a step up from where we're at.
Mhm.
I think it's hard to expect our employees to use their vacation time when they're sick.
I don't know, am I allowed to comment? Sorry.
If you would like to, yes,
So this doesn't fall under like the main, like, paid time leave, where like earned paid leave,
so some of it does.
is that's kind of like how we use it at work.
Mhm.
Is you get like 1 week after a year of paid vacation, but after, I think it's 90 days, you accrue hours based off how many hours per week you work.
Yep.
And that's mandated by the state.
Yep.
So
So I believe 40 hours, I believe.
like up to 40 hours.
Yep.
And then you can use that for, you could use it an hour at a time, or you don't have to use
Mhm.
like 4 hours at a time. So I didn't know if it would make sense to go under that as opposed to giving them
Mhm.
sick time, because they're still gonna have the earned paid leave
Right,
and vacation time.
Mhm.
So now you're giving them that much more, whereas the state already kind of mandates that you have to get that.
Mhm.
So.
It was my understanding that if your paid time off or time off is more, is more generous than the earned time leave, you can't use the earned time leave as additional. That's my understanding.
I guess I don't understand how you phrase it.
So our paid time off is more generous than what their paid leave.
More
mandated by the
hours.
State is,
Okay,
correct?
so if someone comes in and starts working for the town, what do they get right now for vacation and time? I'm assuming it's after a year.
Full-time,
I don't,
I'm not trying to cut people's pay, but.
I gotta see if I have it in front of me or not.
leave of absence
I
policy
don't.
for full-time employee, if they work 40 hours per week, 0 to 2 years, they get 88 hours of paid time off.
Okay, so roughly 2 weeks.
3 to 6 years
Yeah.
is 128 hours.
Yeah.
And then 7 years to separation, 168, so it's
Okay.
what, four weeks?
So what wound up happening when the state of Maine introduced this policy at the place that I work, we used to get a week of sick time and a week of vacation time. Up to once you were there X amount of years, you got 2 weeks of vacation. So what they wound up doing is because the state is now mandating that they have to pay their employees to take sick time, is they cut 1 week away. So you would, basically, you could rewrite that so that from years 1 to 3, they get 1 year of, or they get 40 hours or 44 hours of vacation and up to 40 hours of earned paid leave. Right.
you have a written copy of that, you could email to us?
Yeah, it's a way that basically the state said you have to give people sick time.
Right.
But businesses can't afford to give everyone extra weeks of vacation, right? Because the state said they did it, so you rework your wording of your hiring packet to change that. Right. So. I guess I'm not trying to cut anyone's pay, but.
No, I was just,
It's.
No.
You give someone an extra week's vacation
Mhm.
because the state says you have to. So. But yeah, I can try to
What's
find
that
it.
consequence?
You are correct. I know I accrue sick time. So much per pay period.
Yep.
or
That's what Andy
Based on the
had.
hour,
Mhm.
I can't tell you what that number is.
Yeah,
And I've never worked in an agency that did that. All of our stuff was rolled into one. I mean, we had generous vacation time, don't get me wrong, like we had plenty in all of our holidays, but.
my cows don't care if I'm sick, I don't want it.
Well, I mean, now that I work for myself.
Exactly.
The earned paid leave for every hour, every 40 hours that you work, you get 1 hour of paid. leave.
Yeah.
And then that goes out throughout the year, and at the end of the fiscal year, if you haven't used it, it's gone,
Mhm.
right? So use it or
You
lose
don't
it.
carry it.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can't carry that over.
So my sick time accrues as long as I'm employed, but the minute I go unemployed.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Schools accrue still, right?
It does right now,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, there's talk of possible changes, because I know Archer 10 just changed theirs last.
Boku days.
So I believe actually, around some of the ed tech stuff I was looking around. Wow, I've got, I don't know, a couple hundred of them built out now.
I never take. Yeah, knee surgery on Thursday, back to work on Monday.
Mhm. Yep,
And I think that's worth. Reworking these numbers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Still being generous, but take a few away, and
slide some things around.
Shuffle.
I think so.
Yeah, so like if, everybody wants to do some digging before the next meeting and bring some options back, we can. Talk about it and see where we're at and
So what next meeting?
go from there. Yep,
Okay,
gives us some time to look at it and. Do a little research. Alright, gee, job description updates.
That was on you put that on there too, I didn't do it.
Yeah, I know I took the job descriptions home that were in our packet last time.
Yep.
And just kind of looked at them, which they were all pretty similar. And they were pretty similar to the ones that I've looked up to. So I guess it's just comparing it to what,
I mean, we just revised them last year,
Right,
our own.
right, but there's a bunch that we also need to look at
Right, I
that
just,
haven't been done for a long time. Like transfer station hasn't been touched
I
for
don't have a clue what that one is.
many, many years.
Yeah.
I
But I know,
think
Oh,
since-
I was
think
looking
since you and I first-
specifically at the town clerk and the deputy
Right.
clerk.
Yeah. I wanted it on there for everybody, because I think it's not long before we're gonna do, it's actually be in the next month and a half, we're gonna start doing evaluations.
yeah.
We just
And we really can't
redid,
do
Did-
evaluations
did we get
without
that?
those.
Shit.
we redid highway.
Yeah, so
Have a work session, what you
I think we
saying?
do, yep, that's.
I'm with Rob.
Me too. Can I start that?
Sure.
You can, but we're still gonna have one.
Yeah. So,
I can tell you, if it's not in October, it's not in November for me.
Yep. I'm hoping it's not in November for me either. So we're gonna be looking at probably the week of the 16th.
I vote Friday. It's my only free day.
Are you in
This Friday?
October?
Friday, any Friday.
Yes,
October
sir.
16th is a Monday.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. So that week sometime.
I can do that one. I can't do the week before.
I don't have my calendar on here, but
Well, when did you say?
What's that?
When did you say?
I said, for me, it would have to be someday in October, because November is out for me. Pretty much the whole.
We were
month.
looking at the week of the 16th, I think.
Mhm.
Call the 18th.
okay, so either 16 or 17 then.
We
I'd
do
rather not,
17th.
I'd rather not do 16.
Yeah, no.
My birthday, I'd rather not have a meeting. that night.
no. Oh, is the 17th the day we meet with? Sheila?
If you can get there, yeah, because I don't know that I can.
Okay, that's Tuesday. Yes, I was actually thinking it was Monday. I can do 17th. So, yes,
Mm,
Extreme's coming in,
Meeting,
what, 11:30?
11:30, I believe.
What time do you want to try for on the 17th?
7?
Only if you're bringing pizza.
AM or?
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what we gotta do, we'll make it work.
Okay.
I mean-
That's a 5.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. We'll make it work.
I mean, I can do that day. It's just, yeah, probably.
And
at 7.
7 p.m. Work session. I know, don't I?
And we're limited to an hour.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
All right, so have your homework done beforehand.
That's right. Come in with thoughts about them and we'll. If we can't get it done in an hour, we'll reschedule another one. But if we keep it to an hour, that way it gives us something to shoot for.
We get
I
that.
like that.
Chop, chop.
All right. So job description updates, we're gonna have a work session on October 17th.
Phones?
Huh?
Phones.
I regret that time.
You chose it.
I know, well,
Oh, yeah. Oh.
All
and I
right.
can get back here from Peru by 6:30 to 7.
I can be quicker than
I was
that.
gonna say.
Well, I gotta drop people off at home and then,
Roll.
Yeah.
yeah. Get out of the truck.
Pretty much kick the door open and go. Need ejection seats.
Yeah,
Right, Town of Canton and Canton Sewer Department Accounting and Office Operating Policy.
I have no idea what this is.
I put it on there.
I know.
And I know exactly why. I can get to the right page.
what is it? Oh, Counting Canton.
F3.
Yeah,
All right, so this policy I brought up because I think there's a couple updates I'd like to make to it. And it's something that we haven't touched for quite a while.
1:15.
Yep,
That's funny.
that was when we
You're
went through one of the times we went through the policy book the last time. Now I'm just gonna find where we're at. The first thing we need to change is the second bullet. It says cash disbursement warrant for payroll will be done and approved by one board member prior to disbursement every Wednesday.
Where are you? I am trying.
It's
to
way
find-
back.
It's in our last, keep going. Right,
That's.
That one.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thank you.
So what our,
F3,
Angie, our
sorry.
pay date now is Tuesday?
Wednesday.
It is still Wednesday? Okay,
Okay, what was you gonna change again?
nothing apparently. At least not that line, because it is still Wednesday, even though I thought it was Tuesday. So ignore that.
Good, that's
The second one, okay.
Right now it says, cash disbursement warrants, in other words, AP, will be done twice monthly on the side of the meetings. Are we okay with twice monthly, or do we want weekly? Cash disbursement.
Yeah,
being AP.
I know, I was
So
just
that-
reading it.
Twice a month, right?
Depends on the month. Sometimes they get done, it's always said twice, but sometimes they get done more
Which would
frequently,
be
depending on what's
better.
going on.
Which would be better. Do it weekly. Be timely.
I was to say, to me, it keeps more bills paid on time and more, if we do it more frequently. I mean,
Because a lot of those
There-
bills are 10-day net, so.
mhm,
You know, 2 hours.
you're borderline.
But
And then by the time, if they come in, they cross in the mail going back, and you look at potential late payments and
Yeah.
stuff like that, just because of the way mail's been lately.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm okay either way, whatever's works best for. Whatever you think's best. I'm open for either.
the manual aspect does make it make sense to do it weekly. I hate to say that, but it does.
Yeah.
Hate to throw them under the bus, but.
Well- Not our mail, our mail is good.
So you just want to adjust that, so it will be done weekly to
That-
coincide,
That was my thought, would be just change it to cash disbursement warrants
to be done weekly.
for operation
Eliminate the rest of
town
it.
will be done weekly, and then eliminate the rest of it.
That works.
Yeah, please.
And I believe. That was all I had in it. Did anybody else see something they want to change, or?
Oh, I think that works.
I think I still have the original that we typed back in 2015, so I can make the edits, bring it back before everybody
Yep, that works.
at the next.
We have to vote on that.
No, I'm okay with that.
No, we don't have to vote on it until next time,
Okay.
because we don't make the change
Yep.
until we can sign on it, so.
I won't do it next time, but I vote yes.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You don't think?
I did miss you when you were gone.
Yeah. All right, the next one, the employee internet computer use policy. It is redundant because, and actually out of date and redundant, because when the. Prior board redid the personnel policy last year, I think it was.
Yes,
Yeah, last year, you guys decided to actually put the employee computer internet use stuff inside the personnel policy.
Mhm,
So therefore, this one is no longer needed.
yep,
Um,
agree.
And this one is actually, from reading it, it's out of date and references terms that no longer exist.
Is the one in the personnel policy up to date? or should it
Yes.
be-
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
no, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I could read them both, compared the two, and that's the one that definitely
okay.
is better off.
Yeah, and I had Angie email me the one in the employee policy,
Mhm.
and I like that one way better than this one.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Sounds good. Can I get a motion?
Want to make a motion to disregard this computer use, internet use policy. And go with the one that's in the current one in the employee personnel policy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to strike policy E1. All those in favor? Opposed? Great. Move forward, we gotta go. All right, solar and marijuana moratorium discussion.
So I believe. Planning board, you got the memo from our last meeting that we want a solar ordinance, like fast track, okay? So, I don't personally want to end up looking like Farmington. I think would be a crying shame.
The one we had started on before, basically, we looked at Farmington some time ago.
Yeah, there's a book, isn't it?
They reiterate every single state requirement in their town ordinance. What we had done with something else was basically say, we agree to follow all the state guidelines, and then applicants must meet state guidelines for ABCD, the checklist of things they had to meet. But we did reiterate what those guidelines were again. And I think the direction you've given us last time was, that we wanted to try to keep it to no more than like 2 commercial
Right.
ones, but not any limits on residential. So if you want to put them on your house, you put
Correct.
it for your own use, even if you generate a little more energy than you consume, and you want to sell it back to the grid. Technically, you can make
Yeah.
money off it, but not the same.
The other
No,
thing is,
Well, that's,
setup.
that's different. Residential's different.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I,
go ahead.
I would say, I think one thing. I think it'd be interesting to look into what Vermont, some stuff Vermont has done. They've got it set up in a few places so that you can set up solar, some commercial stuff. But it can't go on, it can only go on certain types of land.
mm,
So for example, a wide open field, Vermont is now saying, no, you can't do that. If you have, a spot that's ledge, or, you can't, a piece of land you can't do something with, whether it's farm or whatever. Then there's some options to put solar in those locations, but not taking away open space or, existing ag land. That's something I hadn't realized. Christie found that, and shared it with me. That's something I think would be worth looking into.
Do you know if that is something that the state of Vermont did across the board, or was it by municipality, just to help narrow our search when we look into, do you know?
I believe, I can check with Christie, but I'm pretty sure she said it was a statewide thing.
It wouldn't surprise me
but-
because they had a lot of little pop-up ones,
Yeah.
I mean, even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, they've got huge ones.
Well,
Yeah, they do, but I mean,
Burlington
there's,
Burger exclusive with them.
yeah.
Our state doesn't agree with that, because they're gonna want every stinking on ramp.
I know, it looks so much better than trees.
It's blinding.
Mhm. Yeah, I can, I'll ask Christie and we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Big,
Yeah.
big truck rolls over into that, cleans it up.
I had that thought too when I first saw one. I was like,
Well, I think that the citizens have to decide if someone has, and there's different sizes, right? There's small ones that are
Right,
less than so many megawatts, and some that are much, much bigger.
right.
You want to just put the number overall, or the size of the number?
yeah, I mean, I would like to see size and number limited. And my whole idea, and I go back to when I was at the, discussion for looking at our comprehensive plan and our natural resources and just trying to preserve our natural resources. They're cutting a lot of lands and putting in a humongous solar farm takes away those natural resources as far as habitat goes or anything like that for wildlife. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at personally.
All right there, and we'll see, like, I mean, our town is notoriously fiercely independent.
Mhm,
Because
absolutely.
one of the issues that come up on a number of topics is, well, what's your zoning? Outside people call it, what's your zoning? Like, we have no zoning. So.
Yeah.
Therefore. Free for all.
And I love that this town is independent. I love that we have independent thinkers in this town.
I think we have 2 zones. We have Canton and we have Canton. Those are the 2 zones.
Yeah, they are.
one side of the track and the other side of the track.
And zoning board, there is actually some zoning identified in there
Mhm.
as whatever. But minor. More like downtown, shoreline zone,
Yeah.
resource protection zones, something
Yeah.
else, but it's not housing land use zones.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I never get cold. I'm never cold. My lips are turning blue.
I know, I'm getting a little chilly too.
Come on. Would you like to-
We can put it on. It is very nice, but.
I have one of those directly behind me at work all day.
Anything else for that discussion?
Well, I just was
Yeah.
wondering, the second part of that item. Is that being addressed right now? Because it says marijuana moratorium discussions, I just thought I better ask about that, or, it's like speak now forever, hold your peace kind of.
Well,
Yep,
So I wasn't sure if that's rolled into the next, item, or if that's being discussed right now.
I think that one's being discussed now as well.
I mean, we have an ordinance that limits to.
that's what I thought was gonna ask. I thought that was how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
The ordinance that we put in place.
3,
2
Two?
years ago.
2 years ago.
2, 3,
I
yeah,
thought it was a little longer than
been
that.
a while.
It's limited to 2.
2 medical marijuana establishments.
Right,
within-
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad up to speed in what you're talking
And we have 0 at the moment.
about. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, if you're gonna have a moratorium, that has to go to a town vote.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep, it does.
I think it's irrelevant.
And where it stands right now, the town voted to allow for 2 medical marijuana establishments and 0 recreational
Correct.
establishments.
Will that ever be revisited, or is that lifetime of the town? How does that all?
You can revisit anytime you want. And
Yeah.
if the citizens say they want something, a citizen can
Yep.
form a petition, get enough signatures and require any ordinance to be submitted to the town for the town vote.
Now, and I'm sorry if I'm being recommended on my glasses. But basically, here's the thing, is that, there is a possibility that the ordinance right now is unconstitutional. And it's hard to actually get into court on that, because to actually establish standing to challenge an ordinance, it's not an easy task to do, because you have to demonstrate you've been harmed by it. It's not just any random person that can say, I'm challenging this. However, today, and some of you might have seen my email, but I was able to pull up a case from 2018, which is still good law, because I saw if there was any negative treatment on it, which was from the law court, Maine Supreme Judicial Court, our highest state court, which was a case of Burgoyne versus Twin Rivers Paper Company. Now, granted, that was a workers' compensation case where you had an employee who wanted the employer to cover his medical marijuana expenses. And this case, at the first level, the workers' compensation board directed the employer, you must pay for him. It went on appeal, in the administrative system, you must pay for it. Then when it got to the Maine Supreme Judicial Court sitting as a law court, the law court said that the Controlled Substances Act, the federal law, preempted Maine's medical use of marijuana act. And so, but the courts are very cautious about, sweeping orders that just knock things out completely. They'll take it case by case, narrow the holding. And so, and just to give some context to this, when those of us who are on the planning board, the Board of Selectmen, we take an oath of office to uphold the US Constitution. And Article 6, Article 6, Section 2, which is called the Supremacy Clause, says this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, of which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Now, the one thing I can foresee is perhaps someone saying, does this really fall under the federal government's power under the Interstate Commerce Clause? And the one case that we have on point comes from 1942, Wickard versus Hillsborough, where it was a case about wheat, where the federal government was trying to stabilize the wheat prices, and you had this individual said, I'm growing the wheat in my property for my own consumption. How could the federal government regulate me on that? But the Supreme Court said that the federal government had the power if in the aggregate of the country, it would have an influence on the price of wheat. So now, on the flip side, you have the Affordable Care Act, and the reason why I mention that is there's a hint there that maybe a new majority of the US Supreme Court might be willing to revisit that, how the interstate commerce clause moves. But the bottom line is that I really think, based on this information, that we are living in a bit of a fictitious state right now. I'm not saying the state of being, I'm saying state of being, meaning we have this federal law, we haven't really seen much challenge to it, but I was happy to see we had a main case because that's in the state court system, and the highest court in this court system, I think, is also sending some big hints, even though it goes to 2018. So that's just my point. I wanted to put that out there because it really is an uncomfortable situation to be in, isn't it? At least that's how I see it.
So as we've discussed at the planning board too, because I worked with the American Herbal Products Association, the FDA, and USDA on this topic. And because it is still classified as a federal class 1 drug, but they legalized hemp, which hemp was the original problem. And you can get cannabinoids or the CBD, the non-THC components of this through hemp. So they legalized hemp. Meantime, states had passed laws allowing marijuana legally. Colorado's been doing it for years. California's been doing it for a lot longer than me. The big question was around interstate commerce through states that did not, where it was not legal. And so I know there's cases working their way through the system because somebody purposely loaded a truck and drove it across state lines, got arrested, just to start the case history building. So
That's the motion to your call.
still the federal government has chosen to kind of let states' rights decide what the states want to do at this point.
Right.
So they're not challenging the state law at a federal level. So the 18 or 20 some states that are now, I forget how many of them now.
So that is for lawyers to sort out. We have to go by what is state law at this point.
Right.
And follow. We have an ordinance that
That's
says
the
that
next
can be
agenda
two.
item.
Huh?
Go ahead, continue.
What?
No, go ahead.
You have the
I
floor.
thought you
Keep
were,
going.
keep going, you're all good.
Okay, well, the state law says it's okay. We have an ordinance that the town voted on that says it's okay. We have a completed application with all the necessary things in that are supposed to be there. And we have a lawyer's opinion that says we have no right to deny it.
So we're,
So we're kind of skipping ahead, but
as I say, are we done with Jay? Just so we can continue on to the next. And then continue that discussion.
sure.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the,
Well, yeah, and I
Permit.
think so, because the moratorium, the wording in it, moratorium would be to stop all, which we would have to go to a town vote to do
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
Which would be up to the town citizens to
And it's not retroactive.
start
correct,
right, to start a petition. To put that on the next ballot if the town wants a moratorium to stop all of it. And, go ahead, Brian.
all right, so looking at the current permit, I did reach out to our attorney just to see, because we had surrounding landowners come in with concerns about it. So I did reach out to the town attorney who got back to me yesterday. Or it came through yesterday anyways. And he's reviewed the information that I sent him along with our current ordinance, if he still had a copy of it. He's saying that sorry, let me find the exact spot where. The fact that the surrounding property owners simply do not want a facility there where it is not sufficient reason where it is not sufficient reason to deny the permit. If surrounding property owners' complaints are connected to requirements under the ordinance, then it's entirely possible that those complaints can be basis for denying the permit. However, just on not wanting it there will not allow us to say no. For instance, if they're complaining the facility will have too many cars coming back and forth, accessing the property, amount of the traffic is greater allowed in that zone, which we don't have zones. Then that would be a reason for possible denial.
Right, and there is conditions on the permit that was sent to us, there was
Right.
conditions on the permit, if those conditions are not met for whatever reason. It can be revoked.
Correct.
Yeah,
You can't find the permit right in front of you.
You got hands everywhere.
Brad,
I'm just wondering, at any stage in the process. Did the town ask Attorney Conway to what his analysis was on the issue of preemption? Now granted, I guess he could have been free to opine about it, but I also was wondering if the town ever asked him, because sometimes the information you get is only as good as the information you're given or asked to give a legal opinion on.
Mhm.
So did anyone ever ask him on that, or did they just wanted him to just focus on the ordinance itself and not really analyze that?
my question was in regards to the ordinance and around property owners, surrounding property owners' complaints. That was the question that I'd reach out to Jack on. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get, well, at least I don't think, but I don't think that I got a list of all of the stipulations or whatever.
I'm looking for it in my book.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that I have that and you know, make sure that we're
It's
solid.
on the front page of the permit.
Was there a discrepancy on the issue of the permit as far as application, you have to go to your town prior to state? Was there a little bungle on that whole process?
What? Oh,
Is that question directly?
Any of us, I
And,
think.
okay,
It went to the planning board before we
right,
ever.
and
So,
if I remember the last meeting that we were at, it was stated that because the town didn't have proper person at the helm, that there's basically was kind of passed through, and the state
Okay,
and gave it
That
a
works.
permit. I don't know how that ended up, is that good or bad, or?
I believe our ordinance states that it has to go through us before it goes to the state. Am I correct?
No, because our ordinance requires that certain state authorizations already have been granted,
Okay,
so they have to apply the state before they apply here.
okay,
And as far as we're concerned, we have a completed permit.
right.
We're just gonna add that when you originally apply for the state level license and all, it doesn't ask for the town approval and everything, because a lot of towns are doing it the way that it's kind of listed in Canton. But when you go to renew your license at the end of the year, that's when they require you to have a permission or a conditional permit from the town.
Okay. So that's what brought this up right now, is you're trying to get your renewal.
This came up because someone reportedly to either the state, OCP or the IRS tried to say I was doing wrongdoing. So I had to go through with an audit and go through that whole process to prove that I had everything by the state level rule. And then I needed to start my process to be able to renew my license for the following year.
Okay,
So it all kind of switched into one.
everything happened at once.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing on there that the code enforcement officer should probably look at is that a number of those state issued items expire at different times, but they expire in the next 6 months, so. We would expect they would update it. So I have a list here. It was on that thing that came to you guys. You want me to read it?
Sure.
What, the condition?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come.
Actually, I gave the copy of the minutes. I don't, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't think it had the conditions on it. Go ahead, Diane.
it's here.
I'm gonna keep looking.
A medical card is only, sales of flour only, so you're not producing any dollars or any of that stuff. Notes on either advertising on premises, no retail storefront. Growing inside a building only, and meeting the main growing safety and odor precautions, which are regulated by the state. Removal of exterior spotlights to normal residential lighting levels. And an annual permit review.
I'd say I don't have it in mind.
Yeah, I just found it, and I just heard Rob making a copy, so you guys will get a list of what Diane just read.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it through here.
Yeah, it's like right.
Helps if I find the right page, yeah.
Thank you, Rob. I gave them a copy of the minutes.
Brad?
I pulled up the, what I had for the PDF, town of Canton marijuana ordinance, for the vote, and it said the registered caregiver retail store shall have exterior spotlights with motion sensors covering the full perimeter of the building or buildings subject to other ordinances on select board's discretion.
That was a temporary permit that was issued in the summer, because they already had an ongoing business. While we were looking at the other requirements and setting up the other, so that is a temporary permit under which they've been operating.
Yeah, audited, they had to get a conditional permit for the audit because I was up for renewal within 6 months or something like that.
And so there's the CEO at that time was concerned about the spotlights and outdoor growing, and since there's been a decision to not have any outdoor growing. And all parties concerned wanted to remove the spotlights because they were annoying. That's why we put it like, just so everybody's on the same page.
And
When I have to completely remove the spotlights, because I do have the one by the front door when I come home at night to get up my stairs. but
No,
like,
removal of exterior spotlights to normal residential lighting.
Okay, yeah, that's.
So whatever you determine is
Just
your normal
safety is all
residential. lighting.
anybody else want to talk?
Doesn't matter.
If you guys want to talk, I'll let you.
I completely understand.
I don't think you do, because if it was next to your house, I think you wouldn't be in a little bit of a concerned position.
I
Thank
personally,
you, Rob, I'm sorry, it's,
right, I understand, because I don't think I would want one beside me as well, but giving our ordinance,
rules are rules, laws are laws, you have got to go by.
elections have consequences. That's what I told her.
I'd like to thank everyone for what you do and the conditions that were applied to this. I think it's gonna help. Ease some of the pain, but it is what it is.
I understand.
You know, it is what it is. Laws are laws and
And
We have no basis to deny it.
absolutely.
that was part of my reasoning to reach out to the town attorney to ask, because I hearing concerns, I personally feel very similar to him. If it was next to my house, I wouldn't want it either. But when the town attorney tells me I don't have a basis to deny on just those concerns, I unfortunately can't. I have to follow the ordinance and
Is there a moratorium on zoning as well? Could that ever be revisited on, so why is there no zoning in the town of Canton? I don't understand how come we don't have adequate zoning laws. An establishment like this down in town would create a whole different atmosphere than it does in a rural setting. A lot of towns have those guidelines, and I don't know why we never had any zoning laws ever.
I was told that historically, people didn't want them.
Okay,
that's what I've always been told is.
Now, we're redoing the comprehensive plan with a 10-year strategic plan. That could easily be a component of that plan that says revisit zoning for like commercial, residential, etc.
And there's always positions available on the planning board, correct?
Yes, no opening.
but then be grandfathered.
Well, usually you're
I
not.
think there's definitely stipulations probably involved in that.
What?
Correct. I believe so, right?
Right.
Your permits have to be renewed every year.
Yeah, so for the.
Yeah.
State level license, I have to renew it every year. I also have the retailer reseller certificate, just so I can legally file my taxes to IRS. That's an every 4-year thing, I believe. And then there's a few other little, so I have the town locate every year. have a scale that they make you buy and pay like $500 for, and then you gotta go bring that for renewal, so they make sure you're not tampering with it. There's a handful of papers. But yeah, it's all basically.
Brad?
Annual commercial. permit. I mean, in the commercial permit, we put in their annual review.
Okay, yeah.
One example I gave to my colleagues is if, let's say hypothetically, there was the townspeople decided to pass an ordinance that said, you cannot run a business if you are, and this is a crazy example, okay, a member of the Buddhist religion. Would our office holders really seriously enforce that? I don't think so, because we know that that goes against the First Amendment to the
That-
Constitution.
All ordinance goes through legal review, and that would not pass the legal review.
Well, here's the thing is that, I don't think anyone ever asked Jack Conway about preemption. So he's only gonna give an opinion to what you're asking him for. And I don't know if he saw this case citation. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not advising the town. And, you know, he is the lawyer for the town of Canton, so I don't want to establish an attorney-client relationship in my official capacity on planning board.
Mhm.
But I'm just putting that out there, because whatever information you give to council, that's gonna affect the analysis. Like if my clients tell me, look at this issue, well, I can put together a legal memo doing the analysis.
Mhm.
And give an opinion, but it's only going to be good as far as the information I'm given. And then the other point, I don't know if the point was brought up about the federal government's enforcement part, but that has swung between generations, I mean, not generations, administrations.
Mhm.
Because like in 2018, the Justice Department swung another way, so, you know, I'm just, and that's enforcement, and as if you had the chance to read the case I sent up our highest state court in Maine, because I'm all about laws, and I'm glad that our highest court has weighed in on that narrow issue, and I think they will continue to engage.
Yeah.
The point they bring up is that one is enforcement, and the other is the fact that if the law is still on the books. And so I would hate to see you guys commit a federal crime tonight, aiding and abetting the illegal, the violation of the Controlled Substances Act, which the decision I shared with you guys talked about, how that's against the law, aiding and abetting the, you know, I know there's probably a lot of peer pressure from other municipalities, but the fact of the matter is, you know, that just because a whole bunch of people jump off a bridge doesn't mean you have to as well. So I just want to put that out there. Okay.
Would you revisit that conversation with the lawyer? Would you?
If the board would like me to, I can reach out. I think,
He's reviewed the ordinance before it went before the town.
In regards to what, Sean?
The wording, that's given to the lawyer, he's only gonna refer back to you any prudent questions that you asked him. Is there something that was obviously left out of that? Would you revisit that?
like I say, the only question that I had asked Jack was, and I mean, I can pull my email this if I need to, but basically the only question I asked him was, can we deny the permit purely on landowner, surrounding landowner concern, abutting landowner concern? And we were told no.
I think Brad is asking, because he asked Attorney Conway for his opinion on where the town stands on its obligations regarding preemption that federal law supersedes state law.
This is a legal thing that can drag out forever.
Mhm.
We have a completed permit that follows the ordinance, that follows the state law.
You've got people who have been residents here, pay taxes for years,
Mhm.
and have an outside source come and seek out a town, doesn't have an ordinance and doesn't have any of this. I think it's a double-edged sword, and I think this thing should be looked at pretty intensely.
I don't disagree with you. like I said, if it was beside me, I wouldn't be happy either. But sitting here in this chair, which I got voted into, based on the ordinance we have,
Understood, we already went through. it.
I know that.
But is if there's something that is lost in the language or the literature between the conversation with your lawyer, that could definitely clear up any gray area for the towns moving forward.
what gray
Not-
area, what gray area are you asking specifically?
If the town could be held liable because it's still federally illegal. Isn't that what
If
we're
this
just
town is
discussing?
held federally liable, the town of Turner is screwed.
Well, sure, there's probably other towns that are screwed. So you're saying that you have a crystal ball and it's okay for the town to get screwed, and that's it.
No, I'm saying that I have a completed permit that follows the ordinance of the
We
town.
understand all that. That's not what the question at hand is.
I mean, I can reach out to Jack, if you guys want me to. It'll be at our next meeting before we have a response.
I know. I mean,
But
I'm,
I'm willing to. I guess my question would be. If the planning board had already approved this, why were those questions not asked sooner?
In
Because
the
We
I-
ordinance, we
discussed
have
it. We discussed it.
21 days
I
to
just
sign a
sent her on
permit.
that.
We discussed it.
21.
Was not aware of.
Actually, it says 15.
No, I'm leaning more on the planning board, just asking, why, if that question really. Was a big concern. I mean, I could have reached out to Jack about that concern earlier.
Says
That was
15,
my-
March 21 days. Voice let Michelle.
I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know if Jack knows of this,
Unless it would violate.
I
the
found
ordinance.
it, and it was
State
like, well,
law,
first it's
town
all boom, and
ordinance.
it's still good law.
Mhm.
I mean,
I'm not
it's,
happy about it.
it's,
but
and
understand it.
basically, it's the Supreme Judicial Court saying that the legislature. That their law. Was not, was preempted by the Controlled Substances Act, so that's why we have a judiciary. Because the judiciary can put the brakes on things, that's why I think there might be value in asking Jack Conway. To see if this is a signal. Of what is to come that we should be aware of, but we all took an oath when we took our office. And we know it's not a mystery what the federal law is, so the question is, are we, bound to commit a federal crime? I don't think I'm bound by the townspeople to commit a crime. The townspeople can't force me to commit the crime of aiding and abetting. Which, it's there, it's even in the decision that I sent, where they talk about aiding and abetting. So I don't think the town ordinance can force you to commit a crime, a federal crime. What I'm saying.
Perfect example of everyone putting the cart before the horse. States can do it, federal says you can't, and we're sitting here going, what do we do? I mean,
Been awful quiet, Michelle.
well, I'm just thinking professionally, I am bound by two different codes of ethics and I have to follow the most stringent one. Because two of them say two different things, and that's just in my professional life. With my professional licenses. I definitely see both sides of the coin here. I agree that I would like to have our lawyers' opinion on the preemptive status. And at the same time, I think that we're abutting our time limit, that we have to make this decision where we can't not make the decision tonight.
and we have 21 days. According to the ordinance.
It says written out 15 and then parentheses, it says 21, so. We're already past the 15.
I'm thinking,
How did that
maybe,
ever slide?
I'm thinking that's 15 business days, 21 calendar days.
Oh, that could be, but it needs to be specified,
Mhm.
Right,
then.
and so I think even to both those numbers, we're up against that deadline and we need to make a decision tonight. But is there any way that if the lawyer says no,
Is there a condition?
Well,
right,
I was
until
gonna
we make
say,
a conditional decision?
currently you're operating off a temporary permit, correct?
The temporary permit expired, but due to the nature of operations, it's just sitting stagnant, waiting for the approval to continue with the retail aspect of everything.
They've had to cease retail.
Because I need the town approval for the retail establishment, is what it is.
So my question is, can we make a conditional decision tonight? And that condition depending on what the lawyer says about preemptive status?
Not really. I don't feel comfortable doing it conditionally without. If that's our concern is waiting for his word, I would prefer to wait for his word rather than make it conditional. Just because it's gonna be difficult to give a conditional permit and then pull it back.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I say something else?
Yeah.
I think, Brad's comment that asking the attorney to say what the future might look like, he may be able to comment on that, but I don't believe that he could take a stand that says it's illegal to do what you're doing, because
He's not gonna know, because the judges.
that's right. So he could say,
Yeah.
yeah, there may be more of this coming down the road, you may want to revisit your ordinance in the future.
Mhm.
But I don't think he can say what you're doing today is illegal. I don't know.
I think we need to make a decision tonight. Based on the information that we have.
Thoughts,
My thoughts.
It's
Carol?
pretty much right there in Jack's letter.
Mhm.
While we appreciate your concerns and definitely understand them, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't take that into effect, into account, I guess, is what I'm saying.
We gotta follow the rules that was passed by the town.
Mhm.
Sitting in this chair, we have to go by these, rules, whether we like them or not.
Mhm.
Well, I did forget to mention that Scott Mills got back to me though on it. And let me just share that email as well, because it was only like 2 sentences. He said. Oops, let me switch to my personal email. Okay. Scott said, perhaps the town ordinance should be repealed and let the state own the issue. The retailer still gets what he wants and the state regulates them at their own peril. Scott and CEO.
Except
That's a
the
town deal, though.
Yeah.
That's that's something
Town-
that we can't do that, that's the.
Decision.
state law says that you have to have an ordinance. They can't have any business in town without the town having an ordinance. So the town has to vote in medical marijuana.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to have an ordinance, you just have to allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we went through 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was.
And in order to repeal that decision, then a petition would need to be formed for it to get on the ballot again, for it to go up to vote again.
Right.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the permit. Because it meets all the criteria that's set forth. First book.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the permit for the establishment on Town Farm Road. Any more discussion? All those in favor of approving the permit? Against? Same. Okay. Permit is approved. Yes, I was just looking for it. You have the original,
Thank you.
You know, want to buy a house.
You send a sign.
Sure, so-
Planning board as well.
Good to see you, Tom.
You too, Sean, thank you.
I understand that happened, but rules are rules.
nothing I can do
Elections
about
have
it.
consequences.
The town as a whole approved it and they approved the ordinance, so. Do you have the original so we can sign?
Not here with me, actually. Yeah.
Okay, we'll need that before. we exit tonight, we'll have to sign that.
Just check. It's
Got my insurance that I left in the van. while I'm having the mouth full.
We have no option.
Make a motion, we take a 2-minute recess.
Second,
We're taking a 2-minute recess because she needs to run out and grab her drink.
I get your point, what you're saying, Brad, but that's a legal thing that can drag on forever and ever.
All right, we are back from recess and getting ready to look at new business. New business, set the tax rate for fiscal year 24.
Nope.
So we were given some examples. My personal feeling on this is we need to look at pushing out the tax due date. I don't want to, because I know we did last year. However, I don't think it's right to commit tonight and give people less than a month's notice that their tax bills are due. I think that's a little rough. The other thing, I think we need to look into our finances a little bit to make sure if we're gonna pull money out of undesignated fund balance, we look at doing that. The other thing is, if we're going to do that and commit taxes using that, we ask to have a special town meeting to approve that, using money out of undesignated fund balance.
Right.
So even if we wanted to commit tonight using X amount, we can't.
We still gotta figure out carryovers too.
Correct.
We're not in a position, no, we're getting close to being on salary.
I agree.
So a town meeting is set for November. What? November,
Seven.
As I say, I'd have to pull the calendar,
Push
it's
it out a
the
month.
first week.
December 7th.
That would be my thought. The only thing is, so what we're gonna have to do is at our meeting on October 12th. We are going to have to hold a special town meeting to change that due date. Which is our next selectmen's meeting, I believe.
It's not the 12th, it's 14th.
I'm pretty sure it's the 12th.
I don't know what
Yeah,
it
it's Friday
is.
the 13th.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I mean. I'm.
So it would be the
sure I'm looking at
12th.
the same thing.
It's Friday, the 13th in October.
It's been a long
Oh,
time.
yeah.
but if we're gonna do that, we have to have all our other information ducks in a row to make sure that's what we wanna do.
You're correct. Yep. I honestly, I mean, I don't think we have a choice right now other than delaying it until December. We either go to the beginning of December, middle of December, or whatever, but I think we have to do
December's
December.
gonna be ugly, no matter
It-
when we do it in
It
December.
is
so.
because then you're telling people, hey, your taxes are due 2 weeks before Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I mean, it's not good anytime.
Nope.
You can make it January, it's not gonna be good because, hey, guess what?
'cause it's after Christmas.
Exactly, hey, your Christmas credit card bill is now due, and then also you have to pay your taxes.
And you gotta buy heat.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so no matter what time we do it, it's not gonna be good.
Exactly, I mean, it's just.
But I think we have to delay it in order to make sure our numbers are
I agree.
solid,
Yeah,
and so that we can give the town the best outcome. Because I think if we wanted to commit tonight, then I do not feel comfortable saying anything out of undesignated or carryovers. I think if we were gonna do it tonight, it's off the entire budget figure, which is ugly because, I mean,
It
the
is,
school budget alone is 137,000 over last year.
it is very ugly.
So, I mean, it's. Yeah. I think it would do ourselves and the
Right
town
there.
a couple. Isn't it?
Oh, no, it's 90,000.
Yeah.
Mill and a half, $1.50 right there.
Yeah, I think we have to,
I make a
Yeah.
motion that we delay,
hold the
extend,
special
how do
town
we,
meeting.
right, but I'm trying to figure out how we word that,
Postpone the first.
right, postpone, yeah, that's what, postpone the first tax
Tax
installment. From November 7th to. Do we want to put a date until we have more facts?
I think we need to pick a date because we need to. Hold, like I say, we have to hold the special town meeting to change it, whether we do that special town meeting on October 12th, or if we hold it until the last meeting in October to do it. But either way, we have to do it. We have to have it before the taxes are due in
Right.
November,
which is November 7th.
7th.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we could do is because that would be a 7-day posting, I believe, we could wait. Till we could have our next meeting. And see what we can pull together for information before our next meeting to discuss options we might have. And then. Post a special town meeting for the last meeting in October. But I think what we could do is, we have a crier that's gonna needs to go out anytime. So we could put a notice in there just saying, whatever we wanna write up saying tax payments will be delayed to.
Want to say December 12th? That's a little over a month. Push back,
If you sign it, they can go for
huh?
it. If you sign that, they can.
Oh,
As long as we keep a copy of it.
Yeah, we have to make photos.
Yep.
I agree with December 12th.
Yeah. I think-
Tuesday?
There's just no way we can do November 7th.
I just think the front page, right, the actual permit part of it, because I think I have supporting documentation.
Yeah, it's,
Or we can do it all tonight and say we wanna do a special town meeting on whatever date to postpone it to that date. And the 12th.
back that up again.
To all what tonight?
So,
Thank you.
what we can do, right, we have two options right now. We can either just say we're gonna talk about it at our next meeting. Or we can actually set a special town
I think
meeting
we need to
tonight.
set a date now and just
That's what I would,
go with it.
it would be better that way, because
Yes.
then we have a concrete plan. This is
Exactly.
what we're going to do.
Yeah,
So when do we want to hold the special town meeting?
You don't have an expiration date on this?
Can we do what?
Isn't it a 1 year?
It's a 1 year, I believe.
Yeah. Believe so.
We'll
the
find out what year,
9/28,
right?
2022.
Yeah.
And the date, the permit to talk with.
I'm sorry?
The permit number.
Yeah.
Was like 9/11, which I was the date you were just submitted, so that's why in the permit number, we were the date. You know, but now you're
Right, but-
a little bit later, so you think.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it was
I-
9/11 when we originally supposed to vote on it.
9/28 is the date issue, so.
So. 24.
So we want to hold our special town meeting on the 26th
Of this month.
or on the 9th.
Okay.
28th of this month.
Right.
9th of
Well,
November.
so-
Right, you want the 9th of November.
Why can't we hold a special town meeting at our next meeting?
We can, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, can we
I'm
hold
looking
it?
for someone to tell me what they want.
Can we hold the special town meeting to
Push off the date.
push off the date to
Mhm.
December 12th at our next
That we can.
select board meeting?
Yep.
That's my vote.
We can do that at 6 o'clock on the
As long as
26th.
everyone else can be here, as long as you have. a
Just to
quorum, 'cause I
clarify,
can't.
what are we doing at that meeting?
That meeting will be to just set the new tax date.
What's?
That seems redundant.
We're talking
Wait,
about.
the thing-
having
the
a
thing is,
special
we
town
can't
meeting
do
at
it. The
6
townspeople
o'clock
have
at
to.
our
I understand that,
Select board.
but if we're
meeting,
having a special town
the
meeting,
12th,
we might as well have
to push
the
off the
town
tax
meeting
date
to approve money
to
out of the
be
undesignated balance
December 12th.
at the same time,
Okay, so when do we want to do it?
at the end of October.
On the
Do it when
26th?
I'm gone.
And Rob-
Well, and that's where I'm coming from, is I
Instead.
think if things go right, you and I are both gone for a while,
Right.
so.
When?
In November. Right on one of our meeting nights. So that's why I was trying to
Okay, so
figure out
let's not,
timing right now.
let's not overthink this. We need to have concrete numbers before. Huh?
I'm not gonna be in November 4th.
November 14th?
October is what we're
That's-
talking about.
You talk about pushing that out into November.
No, no,
No,
no.
I
Last
do.
meeting in October.
Okay, so I do agree with what Rob is saying, is that the next, when we do have the special town meeting about this, that we have the numbers for undesignated.
Do
funds
both at the same time.
And do both at the same time. If we think we can have those numbers by our next meeting.
That's what I'm getting at, right?
On the 12th, then I'm all for doing it then, but if we don't think we're gonna have it by then
We
we
better
need
go
to
to the
push it
26th.
back to the 26th.
It's gotta be the 26th. If Ron sticks to his 45-day timeline that he gave us on that email a week or so ago, then it would have to be the 26th, right? And then we just, otherwise it wouldn't be, it would be before he's done.
So the 26th would make the most sense.
Huh?
We do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm not ready to approve it though. Cause I haven't finished reviewing it yet.
Okay,
I'll add it to other business, but then we can,
okay. You can do that. I'm letting,
sorry,
what are you talking about?
approving the
audit?
preliminary.
another thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I haven't looked at all those pages either.
No, God.
All right, so
So there was an actual motion on the floor. What do we do with that?
What was the motion?
Carol's motion to postpone first installment.
It's a week.
we're kind of still discussing it.
Okay.
Because we're figuring out our wording on how we want, when we want to hold the meeting to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, the town meeting, the special town. meeting.
Okay, so let me rephrase that to make a motion to hold a special town meeting. At the time of our regularly scheduled meeting on October 26th to vote on. Taking X amount, we don't know yet, out of. Undesignated fund to help offset taxes and consequently pushing back the first installment of taxes to be due December 12th.
I'll second that.
Don't ask me to repeat it.
I can help you out.
All those in favor of meeting,
What she said.
I want to hear you guys be there.
Yeah.
let's finish the meeting and I'll play the recording so you can hear. Alrighty, buyout land use agreements.
Yes,
Carol.
I gotta find my little. Sorry, you caught me off guard. Oh, I was gonna make copies for everyone, I didn't, I'm sorry.
Failure.
Yes. Rob's a good copier. Wanna go make? We had, you've seen it, I brought it up last year and then things. Just fell asleep and no one did anything on it.
So
I don't
basically,
remember then.
so basically the backstory, it's been brought up a couple times over the last, I don't know how many years. We have all these town-owned lots that were done through FEMA. The first, batch of initial approvals were actually, in the, land use plan. So it actually says who's using it and what they're using it for. However, the town, the selectmen have approved multiple other properties to be used by, some abutting landowners and some other people. For different things from, just general storage to, farm use, ag use, things like that. And some of them got a letter just saying, you're approved to do this, something didn't, and there's no real paper trail for it. So, we talked about it a few years ago, never finished it, was actually creating an agreement that just, so there's something on paper that says, yes,
You never file it.
so-and-so has access, or has the, approval to use this property for this use.
Mhm.
Whether that's indefinite, whether it's perpetuity, like,
Yep.
Right,
Right.
boundaries.
Yep, and the hard part is, there were a couple that were approved initially with timeframes, which I know weren't followed. And I know there's a couple others that were done indefinitely. So it's gonna be, it's something that's going to take a little bit of time to, once we have this approved, it's gonna take some time to actually go through and pulling some minutes and stuff to go back and look to see how they were done. In terms of, timeframes and stuff like that. Yeah.
See, I've never
That's where
seen
we're
that
at.
list,
Which list? The initial list?
yeah, I,
It's in the back of the land use plan,
so,
it's the back, few pages.
and I don't know if this would be related, but that question that had come up earlier in the week about. Somebody asking to hunt on lands from the town, like town-owned land, would that be related to this?
no,
No, that just comes before us for approval,
Okay,
and it's as simple as, so-and-so wants to hunt this on this property. And if the board's okay with it, we approve it.
okay, so
We've
by
done-
individual basis,
Yep,
okay,
we've done, we've approved someone to trap beavers on town-owned property.
yeah.
that one today,
I heard rumor that he'd been having good luck.
that one
So-
today,
Which one? Where?
basically.
You down here?
That's getting pretty bad up there too, though,
So, but this is for the others.
mainly for the FEMA,
Okay.
that's what this is for.
And I know we have one that would be definitely in violation of,
I think there's a couple,
two.
Yeah.
That would be in violation of this agreement?
Number two.
The above mentioned property will not be used in a
Oh.
manner to be construed as a junkyard under Maine state statutes. Which one of them is used as a pile of trash at the moment.
Okay,
And multiple vehicles or.
Yeah.
Pieces of old vehicles on them, which is another reason why we need these done, so we can take care of that.
I mean, I'm in agreement with how this is read. How this
It's
reads,
simple.
yeah,
kind of
it's simple
straightforward.
and there's things laid out pretty clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, if we just need to compile a list of who's using what and send this to them and make sure they get it back to us.
Yes, and I just asked that the intended use be specific. Not a,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah,
Grazed cattle, okay.
Yeah.
Not be vague.
Yeah.
That, you know.
yeah, no, I agree.
I actually have a list of all the buyout things, but it's requires having tax maps beside you when you do it.
So I'd like
I
to make a
can-
motion to approve this as written.
Second.
Sorry if I just cut you off.
You're
You were gonna
good.
Say something.
Nope, you're
What does
fine.
it say that you're approving as written?
The buyout property use agreement as written. Which states I
Very
blank agree to abide by the following
Just
conditions
simple one.
in exchange for the personal use of town of Canton, Maine buyout property, tax map, blank, lot blank. My intended use of the property is blank. One, there are to be no permanent structures erected on the property. Two, the above mentioned property will not be used in a manner that can be construed as a junkyard under Maine state statutes. And three, the use of said property is subject to the approval of Canton Board of Selectmen and can be rescinded at any time within a 30-day notice if the above conditions are not met.
I have a question. Does the town charge people to use this land?
We can't,
No,
we cannot make money at all off the buyout property.
and a lot of, I know a couple of the conversations that were had back. In like 13 or 14, when we approved a couple of these initial ones, a lot of the conversations with a couple of the people using the land was. In order to get the land suitable for a couple of the different uses, and one of them was farming, in order to get one of the lots. Where it could be used as ag land, there was a significant amount of, rocks that had to be moved or, things like that, a lot of things that had to be done to it and a lot of money that would have to be put into it to make it suitable. And so the agreement at the time was, considering that. The amount that the person would have to put into it, then it wouldn't. They would keep it for until they no longer needed it, I think is how it was worded. But I'd have to go back and read the actual minutes. 'Cause that was a long time ago.
But it's stated somewhere that we're not allowed to profit anything off of it.
In the FEMA paperwork, it states that we're not allowed to profit off of it.
Let's do that, because you can lease it to these people.
Yep, there was a lot of talk of that.
Yeah.
So how,
There's gonna.
right,
there's
yeah,
gonna be a
because
way around that.
because that opens me up to a question on, like, we were just talking earlier about how some of buyout properties have been used in other towns, not our town. But for campgrounds,
Mhm.
which I would like, yeah, how do you not make profit off that?
I think you have to look at that again. I don't know if it means you can't, well, you certainly can't resell it. You can't.
Okay.
Get cash for it.
Mhm.
I don't know if you couldn't normally lease it for what would be considered like normal upkeep or to offset the cost of mowing the other properties or whatever. There might be some way of balancing that.
Yeah, that might be worth looking into some more.
Because it'd be a way, you guys are talking about taking money out of the fund to offset property taxes.
Mhm.
This may be the way that you can actually do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like I said, I think the hard part will be is we're gonna have to go do a lot of research to find out how the initial stuff improved.
and have our lawyer look at it.
We could.
I don't know, it might be something worth looking into if we say down the road as a town, want to have a campground.
You
that
gonna
may
manage it?
potentially flood.
Right.
You gonna manage it?
Well, a campground with an evacuation room.
Yeah,
I did read that and
and really good flood
but
insurance.
that's the thing is, I read that in the FEMA email that Diane had sent. That it could be used for a campground and all of that, and, but if we can't make money off of it, that leads me to the question on. How does that work?
All
So
right.
anyway, but that's down a rabbit hole.
I see a motion and a second on the floor to approve the use agreement. All those in favor of approving the use agreement? Opposed? All right. I'm happy to help do some research on that, because I've got, I have a tax map in my folder at home that's all highlighted with all the bio plots. in
You
it.
got that.
I have my copy, because I made.
I don't, well, I can't find, I don't know where the other one went that was in here.
I don't know, the one I have is the one that,
Tina did.
no,
Oh,
no, I did this one.
oh,
They used to
Because
be a-
when.
all
That
signed,
years
mostly
ago.
signed.
yeah.
Yep, when Kathy was in the office, she helped me, we went through. File by file of all of the lots
Oh,
that
good.
were listed as town of Canton at the time. Which were bio, and actually the town owned a bunch of different
Oh,
lots
we
that
have
had
it.
been foreclosed on that never got sold.
Right.
So I have a really pretty. Highlighter
That's
map,
what we have.
yep, yeah, my highlighter maps felt like that, but.
Yeah.
So I have another question along those lines. I know, recently somebody sent me a list of the bio properties and asked me for the deeds on it. Some of these that apparently never got filed. And I said, the original deeds were they were all in the town office at some point. It was the town office's job to file those with the state. So I'd be happy to sit and go through those files and look for them in the files
Tara had found the ones that were,
that were missing.
well, I'm not gonna say all of them, but she did find a couple. There's very few.
Well, the original, I mean, most of the deeds were filed with the state. 'Cause we
Right.
had- And she only had, I think, 4 or 5 that she was still looking. for.
Yeah, well, let me be, after she found,
Okay.
I think we found 2 one afternoon, we. Pawed through boxes.
Okay.
I don't remember now whose they were, but. Or was it you and I found?
You and I found them upstairs in the
Yes,
front
it
corner.
was you and I found them.
Yeah.
In a box that wasn't a FEMA box.
It was a random box of a whole bunch of different folders.
Bad, because they were
That was-
all chronological order.
Yeah, not so
in a file
much.
folder at one point.
Not
And
so
I
much.
saw them all in that chronological order when they were over there. And then, yeah. No, when we went to look for them up here, they're scattered.
They were in a box up here.
They were.
Oh, I know.
A
And they
lot
were
of things have,
cataloged,
Yep.
a lot of things.
I
have,
agree.
and there was a list of what was in every
Migrated.
box.
Yeah,
I agree. Cause I still have the
the
list.
box that we left you
We
actually
get a
one
grant
night
to do that.
for the planning board,
Mhm.
they were in that box originally,
Mm.
Yep.
so, yeah,
All right.
I'm not gonna ask how.
You
don't.
don't wanna.
you know,
Other business,
ouch,
we have the 22 draft audit in our hands. You guys had a chance to look through it yet?
I skimmed it.
yeah, that's about
Okay.
what I did,
Oh,
I looked at some of it, not all of
it's
it.
Greek,
I can tell you, I
It's
have
literally
not had a
great.
chance to go through it yet.
I skimmed
started,
it and then
but-
I get to the, trying to read it
Mhm.
and it's hard in an electronic copy to try to read that.
it
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
Like I said, I got through the first few pages and I haven't had time to get through the rest yet.
can you?
Cause what it
send
is,
to
is
the
it's,
printer from here?
I can.
it's,
Ah,
if you read one page, the next page is similar, and a lot of it is repetitory, but it's different. And it's,
you gonna send it to the printer,
don't we have it right here now?
I don't think so,
2023 enhanced municipal, no, that's tax rate stuff.
it isn't thick enough to have it in here,
I will print it.
Thank
I
you.
gotta find it.
yeah,
It'll take me a minute,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll find it before I leave and I'll print a
Okay.
couple copies for everybody. Just so we can, support the paper mill.
the one,
Yeah, pretty much. But I guess if we haven't all read it yet, I don't wanna sign the management letter until we've had time to review it.
I have it, that's like my least favorite job.
Other business,
Should I bring up something here or bring it up under public comment?
public comment. Probably.
Get something so my back doesn't get numb, seats for 2 hours.
Other business, I can bring up fire department stuff here.
Yep.
All right, so. Jason was asking how he should be proceeding with the siding repairs. Does he need quotes or is it going out to bid? So that was a question that he had and. The tanker end of October, which Rob brought up at the last meeting.
Supposedly.
Um, so there's that. So one, let's siding. I know we had talked about that a while ago.
Yeah,
So was that supposed to go out for bid or? Should he be getting quotes?
Depends on what he thinks the dollar figure is gonna be.
yeah.
Okay,
If it's over 10, then it has to go out to bid. If it's under 10, then he just has to have 3 estimates.
Say that must have been 4 hours.
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, so they talked about it when we did budget, so yeah.
And then the tanker at the end of October also,
Postponed,
Not the end of October anymore.
it's not the end of October?
at least 2 weeks.
You know
And
what,
then
we're
it's-
gonna have paid for that thing for 2 years, I've never seen it.
No, but it's a good thing. While they were doing their inspection, before
found
they did the undercoating, they found the brackets that hold the water tank in there.
Oh,
There was some corrosion,
bye-bye, yeah,
so they're gonna replace those.
Yeah,
Not gonna cost us anything.
Nice.
They're gonna replace
Yep.
that
Yep.
before they do it.
great.
yeah.
Nice.
Which said, they're gonna add about 2 weeks.
I'll
Yeah.
wait 2 weeks for.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, Jason texted me last night, and he said, you talked to Jeremy, who does our work on our tank, that's between $5,000 and $10,000
yeah.
job.
You gotta pull everything on shore.
You gotta pull that
Yeah.
tank, it's a lot of labor.
Hmm. And the other thing, the fire department is hosting the Western Maine Firemen's Association meeting on Monday. And they need to borrow some folding tables and chairs. And I know he said he spoke to you, Angie, already. What are you mumbling about?
Nice job.
He already said yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Large animal rescue training.
they have once, but it was really different now. And I guess it went fairly well
That's all I got
How far
from my
back?
other
How long?
business.
before I was
Okay.
there.
Angie, do you have any other business?
I think.
Can we do it just so that the current does that? There's a lot of large animals. on this town.
All right.
Yeah.
AP warrants, AP warrant number 20, 167,156.29, number 22, 15,965, 73. Number 24, 11,513.64. Payroll warrant number 19, 5,270. Number 17, 5,640.58. And number 23, 5,482.39.
Make a motion to approve as read.
Second,
I have a motion and a second on the warrants. All those in favor? Okay. And public comment. Diane,
The Canton Historical Society would like to proceed with privilege tournaments again next year, starting in 2024. So they have to reapply to the state for a license for that, which you guys have, there's a letter from the Selectboard that's required to go with that application. I didn't get it printed out for tonight, but if you vote to allow them to have cribbage tournaments, games of chance in 2024, I will get the letter to Angie and get the signatures.
Make a motion to approve. Supporting the cribbage tournaments.
I second.
I will too, because I won last time.
I missed it.
And it looked just like the letter from last year, but with the dates changed on it, and as soon as I'll get that over to the office. the next one. Also, I understand there's a new permit, a building permit coming in for the dog sled guy. Finally, wants to
nice.
build something on his property, the permit application is in the town office, the code enforcement officer shot it to the planning board because it's a commercial property.
Yep.
Right.
So I guess we'll get a copy of that from
It's
you,
a year or something.
He does every year. Yep.
Yep.
that's exciting.
Yep.
He's planning to be on our next agenda, which is. The 19th, are we meeting the 5th?
Well,
Yeah, 5th, yeah, planning board, 5th. So next week. He'll be on the agenda. Talk about why you're gonna miss all the excitement.
I know.
I was wondering what happened to the sled dog business.
Yeah, he came to the farm it was either last week or the week before. Yeah, I was saying, a couple weeks ago, he came by, stopped in to get some stuff at the market and chatted for a while.
I was gonna say, I didn't see him there on Saturday.
No, I wasn't there on that.
He's been working at it. So, yeah. So those are the two things, historically defined.
Nice.
So I had a motion and a second to approve the Historical Society's 2024 cribbage tournaments. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? Okay. Any other public comments? All right, committee reports. Rob,
The days are done.
We don't have a bill yet, do
I doubt it.
You won't get those for you.
we? I know it's a bill, it's Archie's, it may be right off.
Could be.
Last I knew, he had filled 5 before the last day. I don't know how many people it was.
Yep. I know a couple times we went over, there were a lot of people there. It was getting well used, which is good. I
Oh,
think it's,
Miss Fletcher, she said.
right, yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it will help, try to keep things around town clean. I did have a couple people reach out to me with, recommendations for the future, that we do look at doing a tire dumpster again, even though the cost of it, the couple people that, one of them talked to me from snowmobile side, he's saying, you know, we have, we're finding tires all through the woods on our trails because we're just dumping them everywhere. So there was some talk about that, and so I said, well, you know, when we look at budget, we'll bring it up and look at the cost of it, and then if the town wants to hold one, the town can pay for it.
Well, I mean, I had the administrator from the borough reach out to me, and he'll probably be here at the next meeting.
Okay.
But
I stand by what we decided, I mean,
I do too.
yeah. He can write it as a tax write-off, it's, you rent a dumpster, it's a tax write-off,
It's a cost of doing business.
it exactly is.
And his maintenance guy, when I went over there and looked at the pile, he said the pile's there because of the cost, they didn't like the cost to get rid of it all. I said, so you want to give that to the town?
Yeah.
You want to make the townspeople pay for that? Well, go see what they want to do. I said, don't bring it our way, because it won't be accepted. Yeah. So he'll probably be here on the 12th.
Perfect.
I said, come and introduce yourself. You're new to the area.
Yep.
The guy from Canton Variety came and
Yeah.
last time
That's good.
introduced himself, so
Mhm.
anti-business, but. Anyway.
Mhm.
That's
So-
it.
Rob and I spent, I don't know, hour or so the other day. Photocopying invoices, et cetera, to get our FEMA stuff lined up.
Good.
One or both or. Somebody is going to be meeting with the officials on the 17th. Because they want to look at,
County.
yeah,
Yeah.
to look at what happened where.
Mhm.
And hopefully go from there. On Friday, I worked with, I believe it was 14. Of the high school's freshmen for their community service day at Pine Grove. And I'm just going to lay this out there, and I know it's probably gonna irritate somebody, but. I have a real problem with having town purchase materials locked up in somebody's house. And not accessible when we need them. The ones that I had that were left out are upstairs in the office.
I'll take care of those.
It's not right. We don't let other committees do that. We don't let other groups do that. Those should not be locked up.
Well, and in her defense, she was waiting for my solution on where it was gonna go. So in her defense, it's not all her fault.
She's never locked her garage before, Brian.
I'm not listening into it.
I know.
The only thing I'm gonna say is I told her to hold on to the supplies until we had a solution on where to put them. And we still don't have a solution on where to put them.
That's where we put
Well,
it for a
the-
year and a half.
The problem is, we don't have a solution on where they can go that a selectman doesn't have to let them into after hours.
No different than the rec department stuff, no different
But
than the
any-
bicentennial stuff
any-
that was kept up
Any
there.
rec person can get in when they need to. Cause the rec stuff that's used during season isn't here, it's over there.
But you gotta
So,
get it, to
but
get
it-
it over there.
well, that's different though, 'cause you can do that, it's not like you can say, hey, I'm gonna clean stones this weekend, and oh shit, it's Friday night, or Friday at 1 o'clock, and the office is already closed, so now I. have to
You
go
and
to
I
the select
both know that the number of people cleaning stones have access to this office.
I'm just playing the advocate on the other side of it.
I
there's- I think-
understand that, but
I think what we need
until,
to do is we need to look at. Okay, was there something we can do, and I'll be flat out, I'm not carrying the chain fall and stuff upstairs.
no, I don't think that needs
If
to go
somebody
upstairs.
with, if somebody with a back better than mine wants to, go for it.
You can go in the
But I'm not
connects
putting it
down to the
upstairs.
garage, that, there's no, you can't get that thing up around those corners. I mean, so,
But, and that's the thing, there's been no solution to it, so we.
you don't like them.
This is the first time you brought it up and said, hey, we're gonna put them here.
No, it is. No, it isn't.
So I will deal with getting them moved. And I will do it as soon as it's possible.
I'm not griping at you, Brian, I'm really not, this is just frustrating, it's very, very.
And I'm not gonna get between those that can't get along, I have no interest in it, so what, the way I'm leaving it is, I will take care of getting this town supplies. And I will deal with it. And that's where it's gonna be.
So I'd like to
Sure.
just note that this is a good idea as to why all groups doing town business should be official committees.
It's not gonna
I
make
agree.
people get along, I'm not disagreeing with
No,
that,
I'm
Michelle.
not, it's not gonna make people get along, but it will definitely be
No.
a solution to.
No, I
the problem
understand
as
that.
to where stuff
I
is.
agree with what you're saying. on that.
That's what I'm
It's just-
saying. That's what I'm
It's just-
saying.
It's discouraging, disheartening, whatever,
Yeah.
when grown adults can't play in the same sandbox and play nice.
That is absolutely
mean-
frustrating. I do agree with that. And I just, if it was an official committee group, then there would be standard operating procedures that all the committees
No,
have,
I-
which would include where the equipment
No,
is.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying on that front, and I'll be honest. I am not against committees, my whole problem with this discussion from the get-go has been. I'm probably gonna sound like a snot on this, but it was my idea to start this, I did all of the legwork on getting it going, as far as. Sending out donation letters, setting up the account at the bottle depot, contacting the repair company that we hired for 2 years. And now all of a sudden it's become a political football and it's just,
Disheartening.
it is, it really, really is.
Mhm.
I mean. It's like, I didn't. This wasn't done to become this huge freaking arguing point over who has control or who has power. And somehow. Things went flipping south. I can't even tell you why.
So, and that's why we should make it official.
Mhm.
That's why.
Agreed.
So that doesn't happen anymore.
No, I understand that, but I just want you to understand. Why, when this was initially brought up, it was so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Just,
I definitely see the frustrations. I'm looking at it from, the town is
right,
buying equipment and it should be in an
oh,
an accessible place.
completely agree with you.
Um, As far as rec committee goes, soccer continues to go well. And yeah, there's nothing to report, and soccer will be wrapping up, and then we'll be gearing up to support our kiddos that want to play basketball. Pretty much.
Short soccer season, wasn't it?
No.
Nice.
They've been going for a while.
Time flies when you have fun.
Jeremy and Danielle did a great job heading it up.
Yeah.
That's been a very good. We were lucky
Yeah,
to have them step up last
they're
minute.
good people.
Very lucky, and I am so appreciative of them, I am.
So on a positive note, I do have something positive.
We should make them official rec committee members, that's just my opinion.
I don't know if we can.
Yeah,
I would have to look at our rec bylaws to see if we could or not.
They would have to wanna apply.
No, what I'm
don't think
saying is,
we could
I don't
apply
know,
for the state.
I don't know
Yeah, and they're
where
out
they
of
live out of town, if our bylaws would allow
Yeah.
it. But our bylaws could be amended to allow it.
I don't think our bylaws say anything.
I don't know, that's what I mean, I would have to look at them to see.
Yeah, then no, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But if it does say, I'm happy to change them.
Yeah, okay, can we look at
Or
that?
figure out how to
I'd
add
like
it,
to put that on the next agenda. Okay,
because they do,
sorry.
and I think well, they have coached. They've coached T-ball.
Yeah, they do.
They've coached, yeah,
Um,
T-ball, soccer.
I can't remember if they've done baseball or just T-ball. I think
I don't-
just T-ball, I think.
They didn't, they
Yeah.
didn't do baseball, they didn't coach last year. They actually were huge helps to. I had their kiddos, so they were a huge help to my T-ball team.
2 years ago, they were a huge help to the rookies kids that I coached.
Yeah,
Because our kids played together, so it worked out perfect.
they're awesome. Every time they're on the fields, they're helping somebody, so they're awesome all the way around, and I can't say enough nice things about them.
So on a positive note, we had a friend come to the house yesterday from Harrison. We've known him for probably 12 or 15 years, so he's made some trips through town for various reasons. He commented on how, hasn't been around for a couple years, but he commented on how nice the town looked with the new signs and everything's kind of cleaned up and looking good.
I'll take your
So-
positive note and turn it down then. And say that now, I've also noticed that the welcome to Canton sign on Dugway Hill has bullet holes in it. as
Oh,
well.
you're kidding.
I'm pretty sure if you go slow by it, it looks like there's holes in that one too.
Shoot.
If you look at the sign at this end,
That one got shot too?
no, but they put in that driveway there in
Yes.
the mailbox and it's coming apart,
The sign's coming apart?
yes.
Perfect.
How?
The sign is supposed to be getting moved anyways.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it's unbolted from the post, it looks like it's twisted and.
I wonder if they hit it.
It could be that, it could just be the way the year's been, and we know that those posts were not put in very deep.
You're not gonna correctly at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
we
needs
lost a couple
to be
times
addressed.
this year, yeah, so that sign needs to be moved.
I thought it was going to be. But I'll,
Look at me.
yep,
The other one was supposed to go back up too.
yep. And you wanna give an office update?
The update is we have these applications. Tons of them,
That looks like a big pile right in front of
I like the big file, that's good.
to go through. I'm just trying to keep my head above water at this point.
Uh. Yeah. I'm gonna go on to executive session for 405-6A, so we can review applications.
Second.
All those in favor? We are now in executive session. Thank you for joining.